Hello everyone, have you ever caught yourself saying, "That's just the way I am"? Maybe you've said things like, "I'm not good with money," or "I'm always unlucky." Most of us don't realize this, but statements like those are not just casual thoughts. They're powerful instructions being sent straight to our subconscious minds, and that's where everything begins. You see, your subconscious mind is like the software running in the background of your life. It doesn't sleep, it doesn't take breaks, it hears everything, and unlike your conscious mind, which is analytical, critical, and logical, your subconscious simply accepts what it's told, especially when those messages are repeated often or carry strong emotion. This is important because what gets accepted there eventually shows up out here in our behaviors, our decisions, our relationships, our bank accounts. Here's the surprising truth. Around 95% of what we do every day, how we think, feel, and act, is driven not by our conscious choices, but by the programming in our subconscious. That means most of the time we're not living from choice, we're living from patterns. Many of those patterns were formed early in life. Think back to when you were a child. What did you hear often? Were you told money doesn't grow on trees? Did you grow up seeing people struggle or stressed over bills? Were you ever told to be realistic instead of optimistic? Those early messages, even if spoken casually, got recorded, and they shaped the internal script you've been running ever since. So now, let's connect that to affirmations, specifically, I am affirmations. These are not just positive words we say to feel good for a few seconds. When used correctly, they're tools to rewire the subconscious mind. But before we go deeper into the I am part, we need to understand how affirmations actually work. Every time you say something, your brain creates a chemical and electrical response. The more you repeat something, the stronger those neural pathways become. Imagine it like walking through tall grass. If you walk the same path every day, eventually you create a trail. That's exactly what repetition does in the brain. It forms mental trails or habits of thought. Now, the reason most affirmations don't work for people is because they're saying them like empty words. No emotion, no belief, no consistency. They say it once or twice, then look around wondering, why hasn't my life changed? The subconscious mind responds best when affirmations are said with emotion, when they feel real. It's the emotion that opens the door, and repetition keeps that door open long enough for a new belief to settle in. Think of the subconscious as fertile soil. Whatever you plant there, good or bad, will grow if you keep watering it. And your words are the seeds. The moment you say I am, your subconscious listens more closely because you're making a statement about identity. You're telling it who you are, and the subconscious mind is deeply committed to proving that identity right. If you say, I am always broke, it says, okay. If you say, I am attracting wealth, and you say it consistently with emotion and in a relaxed state, it begins to shift how you think, how you behave, and eventually what you attract. You don't even have to believe it fully in the beginning. You just need to say it enough times with enough feeling that your subconscious starts to accept it as possible. That's how the transformation begins, not with willpower alone, but with new instructions reaching the deepest part of your mind. That's why this practice works best in the morning right after you wake up, or at night just before sleep, when the brain is in a more receptive state, often called the alpha state. In those moments, the conscious mind relaxes its grip, and the subconscious becomes easier to reach. So yes, it really does go straight to your subconscious. Every word, every phrase, every I am, you declare it's all a message. The question is, what are you sending? You have the power to change your programming. You have the power to rewrite the script. It starts with what you say after the words I am. Now that we understand how affirmations work and how deeply the subconscious mind listens, let's focus on the most powerful 2 words we can ever say, I am, why I am. Because every time you say those words, you're not just making a statement, you're declaring something about your identity, and the subconscious mind takes that very seriously. It begins to organize your thoughts, emotions, behaviors, even your perception of opportunities around that identity. That's why I am affirmations carry so much creative force. You're not speaking about the future. You're speaking from the present. You're telling your mind, this is who I am now. Think about it when someone says, I am confident, or I am a leader, or I am successful. They're not asking for permission, they're claiming it, and with consistent use, even if they didn't believe it fully in the beginning, something inside starts to shift. Why? Because the subconscious mind cannot hold onto two opposing identities for long. If you keep repeating the new one, it starts to let go of the old. But the mistake many people make is that they say things like, I want to be rich, or I wish I was happy. The problem is, those statements reinforce lack. They tell the subconscious, this is something outside of me. It's not here yet. And so, it stays out of reach. Now compare that to saying, I am wealthy. Even if your bank account doesn't reflect it yet, your inner energy begins to change. And that energy influences your decisions, your focus, and the way people respond to you. You begin to carry yourself differently. You notice new opportunities. You walk into rooms with more certainty. And that energy creates a feedback loop. The outside world responds to the inside shift. So let's break this down into the three areas we care about most: success, wealth, and happiness. For success, it's about programming your mind to believe in your ability to overcome obstacles and achieve goals. You might say, I am capable, I am driven, I am built for success. When repeated consistently, these statements reshape your inner identity. You stop questioning your worth. You stop procrastinating. You start acting like someone who expects results. For wealth, the affirmations are about creating a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. Scarcity thinking says there's never enough. Abundance thinking says money flows to me through expected and unexpected channels. Try saying, I am financially abundant, I am open to receiving, I am a magnet for prosperity. When you affirm this with feeling, your subconscious begins filtering life differently. You stop resisting wealth. You stop blocking your own success with guilt or fear. You become available for more. And for happiness, this might be the most important one. Happiness isn't something you chase, it's something you allow, and the subconscious holds onto old emotional program in patterns like stress, anxiety, unworthiness. You can shift those too. You can say, I am peaceful, I am full of gratitude, I am joy. These simple words can transform the emotional atmosphere inside you. You begin to attract better experiences because your inner state improves. And happiness, like success and wealth, starts within. But let me make something clear. This isn't magic. You're not just chanting and hoping. You're rewiring your system. You're aligning your internal compass with who you want to become. And when your inner world changes, the outer world follows. Your mind starts looking for proof of what you've been affirming, and guess what? It always finds it. You don't need to wait until life looks perfect to say, I am successful, or I am enough. You say it now. You claim it now, because by claiming it now, you begin to build the reality that reflects it. So I invite you not just to repeat affirmations, but to feel them, say them with presence, say them like your future depends on them. Because it does, your words today are building your tomorrow, and all of it goes straight to your subconscious mind. Now that we understand the power of I am and how it speaks directly to the subconscious, the next step is learning how to actually use affirmations in a way that works. Because just knowing isn't enough, it's the doing that rewires the mind. You see, affirmations are not something you say once and forget. They are a practice. And like any practice, whether it's learning a language, training the body, or developing a skill, it takes repetition, intention, and emotion to make it stick. The subconscious doesn't respond to vague or robotic words. It responds to what feels real. That's why it's not just what you say, it's how you say it, and when you say it, that makes the difference. Let's talk about timing first. The best time to use affirmations is when your mind is relaxed, early in the morning right after you wake up, or at night just before falling asleep. In those moments, your brain is in what's known as the alpha or theta state. That's when the conscious mind's critical filter is quiet and your subconscious is more open, more receptive. That's the doorway, and you don't need hours, just a few focused minutes. Speak your affirmations out loud if you can. Hearing your own voice gives them more power. Say them slowly with feeling. Don't rush through them like a to-do list. Let the words land. Let them echo in your body. I am confident. I am aligned with abundance. I am at peace. Breathe into them. Feel the energy behind the words. You can also write them down in a journal. Writing activates another part of the brain. It gives structure and form to your thoughts. And if you want to go even deeper, combine your affirmations with visualization. As you say, I am successful, picture yourself standing on that stage, closing that deal, or living your dream life. The more sensory detail you bring in the sounds, the feelings, the environment, the more your subconscious begins to accept it as familiar. And here's something that might surprise you. The subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's vividly imagined and what's real. If you keep feeding it images of success, images of joy, images of wealth while affirming those realities with your I am statements, it begins to shift your beliefs, your habits, and even your sense of what's possible. Now here's an equally important part: consistency. You can't plant a seed today and dig it up tomorrow expecting it to have grown. The mind works the same way. Affirmations are most powerful when they're consistent, daily, repeated, integrated into your routine like brushing your teeth. You wouldn't go a day without that. Why would you go a day without consciously shaping your thoughts? And be aware of what you're saying outside of your affirmation time. If you start your morning with I am powerful, but spend the rest of the day saying things like I can't do this or I'm so unlucky, you're sending mixed messages. Think of your words as instructions to your subconscious. The clearer the instructions, the faster the shift. Now let me tell you something real. I've seen people transform, not because they waited for the perfect moment, but because they decided to believe something new about themselves. I've heard stories of people who went from feeling invisible and stuck to confident and thriving just by changing their self-talk, and it wasn't overnight. It was daily work. Sometimes the only thing they changed was what they said to themselves every morning. And that's what makes affirmations so powerful. They don't just motivate you, they reshape you. They work from the inside out, not by forcing life to change instantly, but by changing you into the kind of person who naturally creates the life they desire. So this is your moment, not just to know it, but to use it. Speak life over yourself. Speak possibility. Speak worth. Because every time you say I am, you're not just describing yourself. You're defining yourself. And every word you speak still goes straight to your subconscious mind. Thank you.